Welcome back to Pearl Magazine. Over the last few years, more than 110 patients have passed away while waiting for an organ donation here in Hong Kong. The government is now talking to mainland authorities to set up a regular mechanism on cross-border organ transfer. Alice Kahn reports how the differences in immigration control regulations on organs poses a challenge for patients in need. For the past 10 months, Mr. Chow has been traveling to the hospital every day to see his 12-month-old daughter, Jojo, who is confined there. At birth, she was diagnosed with obstructive jaundice, a potentially fatal liver condition.
When the baby was born, she had jaundice and underwent phototherapy. 1 month later, her skin is still very yellow. So we brought her to hospital for a blood test and saw the level of bilirubin in the blood has been going up. She was diagnosed with obstructive jaundice. She underwent an operation last October, but now the bilirubin level hasn't lowered. It's gone up instead. She needs a liver transplant.
Jojo is in the queue for a liver graft, either from a brain-dead donor or a living donor.
Whenever I see doctors or nurses, we ask them whether there is a liver graft. They say no.
In August, Jojo was transferred to the intensive care unit.
Her skin becomes more and more yellow. Her mother stayed overnight in the ward and found she didn't urinate. Her tummy, arms and feet swelled up. Her flesh, skin were hardened and inflated. If the bilirubin level reaches a very high level, it will affect the brain and other organs. So we are very worried and desperate, but we feel helpless.
Mr. Chow has been appealing for a liver donor on Facebook.
I believe 20-30 people have expressed willingness to be a living donor.
Still, the family has not yet found a donor.
They need the family's consent. They also have to consider the risk of the operation. It's difficult.
In Hong Kong, more than 2,000 patients are waiting for an organ transplant every day, but only 5% of the population has signed up in the centralized organ donation register.
If you look at kidney transplantation, the peak was something like nearly 100 cases a year. That was in 2012. And now it's down to like 50-something cases, which is almost a half of the peak, which is quite a significant drop. And if you look at liver transplants, again, the peak has been almost 80 cases a year, and now it is down to 30 cases in 2023.
Hong Kong has one of the lowest deceased organ donation rates in the world. The number of donors per million people stood at 4.7% in 2022. That represents just a tenth of places in the world's highest donation rates, like Spain at 46%. Professor Albert Chan says 100 patients are now waiting for liver transplants in the hospital.
A lot of the times it's because of the cultural belief or the family reluctance that basically leading to the refusal of consent in this situation. A lot of the families, they believe in preserving the whole body.
Many patients waiting for a liver don't survive. According to the hospital authority, a total of 118 patients died while waiting for liver, heart, or lung transplants between 2018 and 2022.
Without a liver transplant, a lot of these patients, they will die within 4 weeks' time. Patients die every day because of liver failure, because there's no liver graft available.
Jen was a recent liver donation recipient. The mother of two is in the hospital to meet her nutritionist. She was diagnosed with a polycystic liver in 2018 and waited for years for a liver transplant. She was admitted to hospital waiting for a transplant in early 2022.
It's a hope. I've got changed already, prepared to be sent to the operation theater. But then I received a call from the medical team telling me that you could go home. The liver was not good enough for transplant.
She had 2 more scheduled transplants in the following months, but both turned out to be false hopes. Her health deteriorated quickly.
Other organs were all displaced, so I often had tummy ache, sometimes so severe that I could do nothing but stayed in bed.
Finally, she received a right liver graft and underwent a liver transplant in September 2022.
We were very grateful. The kids were excited. I can go out with my kids and do things together with them. I had a few trips after the operation.
Some patients queue up for organ transplants in both Hong Kong and mainland hospitals, hoping to have more chances of success. 77-year-old Andrew Tong was diagnosed with liver cancer in 2006. He was at a terminal stage. Because of the long queue in Hong Kong, his doctor suggests he go to a Guangzhou hospital.
He said, they do liver transplant there. Go and try your luck. You either live for 3 months or you have to go to do a liver transplant.
At the time, his wife hired a car to take him to a hospital in Guangzhou, where he stayed and waited for a liver graft.
The whole body is just like collapsing. So tired, mentally and physically. Every day, the doctor will come to visit to your bed, and then you ask the doctor, have we found a liver? And she said no. Terrible feeling.
Finally, a month later, the doctor found a match for him, and the operation went well.
It cost a lot. I have, when after the operation, I came back and checked my bank accounts, and all my monies are gone. It must be like $1 million, Hong Kong dollars. Nothing you can do.
17 years later, Andrew is still in good health. He enjoys running and has joined sports competitions. He also promotes organ donation.
I've been doing this promotion for the last 10 years or so. People are getting less and less resistant to this, and which is a very good sign. But I still think it's not good enough.
But what do you think is not good enough?
Because we are still not having enough organ for the people in line waiting for the transplant. That's a sad thing.
The government is exploring the establishment of a regular mechanism to share cadaver organs between Hong Kong and the mainland. It came after the first cross-border organ transfer case in 2022. In 2022, 4-month-old baby girl Tse Hei was suffering from acute heart failure. She was saved after receiving a heart donation from a young mainland child who was killed in an accident. Tse Hei had the heart transplant in the Hong Kong Children's Hospital. In July this year, the hospital also received cord blood transferred from the mainland to treat a 5-year-old girl with severe thalassemia.
If without transplant, the child needs repeated transfusion every month to sustain the life.
In October, the girl will undergo a stem cell transplant procedure at this transplant center.
This is one of the single isolation room in our center. Actually, we have 10 transplant beds in this center. So you will see this is a 2 doors, double doors, because this system, the 2 doors will not open at the same time. So they make sure to maintain the isolation, and also the air will go from room to outside. So the dirt, the germs will free from the patient.
Frankie said the cord blood came from the girl's younger brother, which was stored in Shenzhen. On the mainland, all organs procured and transplanted must go through the Central Organ Transplant Response System, and only certain hospitals can do organ procurement. Organ transport across the border is prohibited except with special permission. This means Hong Kong hospitals and the government must file an application with mainland authorities and await approval for each cross-border organ transfer case.
Various organizations and departments are involved, like the customs and the Red Cross Society of China, and in Hong Kong, also the Customs, and also the Department of Health, and also the headquarters of Hospital Authority. They did nice coordinations in ensure the smooth transfer of the cord blood from the bank to our laboratory.
David Lam urged the government to speed up discussions with the mainland on cross-border organ transfer arrangements.
It's only when we cannot find a matching recipient in that place, then we initiate the cooperation. Then the next thing we have to consider is whether we need to exchange a list of required organs. When it is all computerized, the matching comes almost immediately. So the two sides can be informed at once.
He says the procurement and transport, together with all the necessary paperwork for, say, the Customs and Excise Department, can be initiated at once.
So that would be a smoother procedure that precludes any special permission. And you know who is on the list waiting before you even have the organ.
Professor Chan said it would provide more options, but there are still limitations.
If the organs come from far up in the north, because of the preparation time, the transportation time to deliver the organ, normally it would take more than 4 hours. So we think that it's quite unlikely these organs would be suitable to be used in Hong Kong.
The Health Bureau also says the difference in immigration control regulations on organs poses a challenge. That's our show for this week. Join us same time next week for the Shaw Prize 2024. Pearl Magazine will return in 3 weeks' time. Bye for now.